Welcome to another episode of OG55. I got the one and only Mr. Seymour Duck with me. We're talking all about Warner Brothers. Warner Brothers. There's a lot of smoke around Warner Brothers getting acquired by another company. We talked about it a lot here on the channel before with Mr. Duck, where, you know, it's possible maybe Comcast Universal might make a move, but John Campea and his panel, they have a different idea. We're going to talk about it. We're going to break it down. I got Seymour Duck in the house up next on OG55. Welcome aboard, everybody, to another episode of OG55. I got Mr. Seymour Duck. We are reacting to a John Campea video. Mr. Duck, welcome to the show, brother. How you doing today?
Hello. I'm doing fantastic. Funny enough, I just woke up, and because I was doing a lot of overtime yesterday, but now I feel refreshed and ready to do this video with you.
Absolutely. I respect you, Seymour. You work very, very hard. You know, I know you very well. We're close, you know, off camera and stuff like that. And like, you work your butt off, man. I respect that. I respect that. So you deserve a little siesta every now and then. You know what I'm saying? You got to treat yourself, you know? So where can everybody find you on social media?
Yeah, you can just find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck. I did have a website, but I'm forgetting to pay the hosting website.
Oh.
I'm not sure if it's still active.
All right. No problem. We'll keep us updated if you find out that it is, and we'll link it. Absolutely. All right, here we go. This is John Campea. I've been a fan of Mr. Campea for a really, really long time. I like his content. I've always liked his content. He actually used to do a show with Christian Harloff, who inspired me to create OG55. You know, Christian Harloff was a huge part of the creation of this channel. You know, well, not directly, but like he inspired me. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to give off the wrong impression, but I'm really a huge fan of Harloff. But him and Harloff did a show called Jedi Council back in the day. And I used to love watching Jedi Council, but Campea is a good dude. He knows his stuff. He knows Hollywood. Seymour, we're going to watch this video. We're going to break it down. We're going to pause along the way, talk about it. You ready to rock and roll, bro?
Yeah, I'm a huge fan as well. Plus, he's Canadian, so like Canadian representing Canadians.
Oh, absolutely, bro. Absolutely. We got two great Canadians on the show today. That's awesome, you know? Absolutely. All right, here we go.
Down. Let's get into it, shall we? We're going to start off with this. Well, you guys know that Paramount has just been taken over by Skydance. It's now official. It's all done, signed, sealed, delivered, the whole thing. And we talked a lot about a number of things they've already announced. The fact that they're aiming for 15 theatrical films per year. The fact that their top priorities right now are things like Top Gun, Star Trek, World War Z, and others from all the IP that they have right now. They also talked about the fact that they're not really interested all that much in streaming movies. Wow. I mean, sure, after the theatrical, but they are focused on theatrical movies. Well, there's been another whisper going around that is now picking up traction as more and more sources are coming forward that taking over Paramount may not be the end of it. Because there's a story coming out of Bellani's Puck right now that they have sources telling them that Paramount buying the good folks over at Warner Brothers is actually one of their priorities. Puck wrote the
Okay, so real quick, before he dives into what Puck says, Matt Bellani is a very credible source. This guy is very connected. He used to be a Hollywood attorney. He's got a lot of connections. Yourself and Alia, we reference him all the time. We always reference his stuff because he is very, very reliable. So for him to be saying this, they're definitely considering it, at least, you know what I'm saying? But here's the thing, Seymour. We've talked about it before on the channel. It seems like Zazie wants to offload Warner Brothers, right? That seems like the plan, ultimately, regardless of what is being said publicly. Yes. It seems like internally that's what's going on. Now, I've advocated for Universal Comcast to come in and swoop in and get Warner Brothers for a few reasons. As a theme park fan, I think that, well, Universal Studios actually sits very close to Warner Brothers. You can see Warner Brothers actually from Universal Studios Hollywood. So they could offload a lot of their sound stages to the Warner Brothers lot and expand their theme park out here in Hollywood. I think that'd be a benefit to them. Obviously, also, I think just having those Harry Potter rights, they would save money on licensing. They would gain a library for animation that would rival Disney's with all the Looney Tunes and Hanna-Barbera stuff. So I think Comcast, honestly, I mean, we both have our criticisms of how they run stuff. They're not perfect. No company is. But I think they've overall generally have done a good job running Universal. I see no reason why they wouldn't do a good job running Warner Brothers. A lot of film fans, though, and even park fans have their concerns that this would be a little bit of a monopoly. My thing is like kind of what you said before, Seymour, in shows past, where these acquisitions are going to happen regardless, and I'd rather have another studio buy these other studios and have like big tech come in, because if it's not going to be another studio, it's probably going to be big tech, right?
Yeah, you took the words right out of my mouth.
Right, and that's kind of where I stand with it. So I wouldn't mind. I would prefer Comcast Universal coming in and getting Paramount. I'm sorry. I would prefer Comcast Universal to come in and buy Warner Brothers over Paramount. That's just me, though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But clearly, between the Comcast rumors and this Paramount stuff, they are definitely for sale, right? So, but what say you before we dive into the meat and potatoes here, Seymour?
Yeah, just a bit of history. There was rumors when they announced. Can't be confirmed, but there was a lot of rumors being reported that when Warner Brothers was being spun out and merged with Discovery, there was a backdoor deal with David, the CEO, right, of Warner Brothers Discovery right now, where it's like, we will make you CEO, because he was from Discovery, right. But you would have to, in the long run, sell. We own shares in your new spin-off company, but you're going to have to sell it off sooner or later in the future. And I feel like that was always the plan, because what he's been doing. He's been like canceling a lot of movies for tax write-offs, making the company leaner. You can even see that he's not even focusing on producing like Cartoon Network content anymore as much for the streaming service. He's just licensing it to like Netflix and Hulu. Hulu has more Cartoon Network content than HBO Max, even though Warner Brothers owns HBO Max. That's what? Even the new shows that are being released, right? They're going to be shown in Cartoon Network, the linear side, but for streaming, it's going straight to Hulu first. I'm like, huh? So because they're not looking to they're looking to make the company look better. So, and now that they're spinning off again, Discovery, so they just merged with Discovery. Now they're going to spin off Discovery, and put a lot of debt in that company, put a lot of the networks that are not going to do well in the future. They know the future for linear is not going to do well. So let me just give a couple of channels that are not going to do well in the future, mix it in with Discovery, put some debt, and then now the company is much leaner, much higher quality, and easier to sell. Like Paramount. And look, I can be a fan and be like, I don't like this because it's Paramount. I'd rather have Comcast. But if I put my business cap on, I'd rather have Paramount, like you said, instead of big tech coming in and buying Warner Brothers. I'd rather have. I don't want like Apple or Amazon coming in. Amazon already bought MGM. Disney already bought Fox. Disney doesn't need to do any more acquisitions. No. They already did enough. But ever since Paramount just merged with Skydance, and ever since that, they got a new CEO, and they've been very, very aggressive lately. And it reminds me of the old Bob Iger. They've been very, very aggressive with trying to stop the competition. And I feel like Paramount is not trying to compete with Disney. They're trying to compete with Netflix now. With like UFC, that $7.7 billion deal they made with UFC Paramount. It was rumored that was going to be with Netflix.
Wow.
But Netflix didn't get it. And Netflix is supposed to be the powerhouse. I remember Dana White was saying, yeah, we're going to bring UFC to a streaming service that's very global. and everyone thought, oh, that's Netflix. It's the best reach to get because you want your IP, right? Your UFC to be reaching the global audience. But instead, they sign up with Paramount. Oh, yeah. So money talks, right? So, but yeah, Paramount's being very aggressive here. So I know it's just rumored; it's not confirmed yet.
Right.
But I can see Paramount buying Warner Brothers. They need to buy Warner Brothers. As a business sense, it makes sense because they need to compete with Netflix. That's your competition right now for them. Comcast can do okay because they have the theme parks. But they do need IPs. That's the only issue. They don't own a lot of IPs for the theme parks, so it would have been nice if they own Warner Brothers. But Paramount also needs to strengthen their back catalog, just like Disney bought Fox. If Paramount buys Warner Brothers,
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely, interesting stuff.
Following, they said, but one source who said he knew definitively that Skydance has long planned a move on Warner pointed to last week's announcements that the motion picture group, Warner, is about to cut 10% of its staff. Warner Brothers is having a banner run of movies right now. We've talked about this. They had 6, they just set a record with 6 films in a row opening to 40 million or plus, never been done before. And they're announcing layoffs, he said. Reading between the lines, they're preparing the company for sale. They need to scale up. Warner Brothers declined to comment. Okay.
Wow.
So this is a different sort of beast than if, say, Disney was looking at buying Warner Brothers, or if NBC Universal was looking to buy Warner Brothers, because they are much bigger companies than Skydance and Paramount.
True.
And I have the feeling that if Paramount did try to make a move to take over Warner Brothers, that they wouldn't run into too many government problems. Let's just say it's obvious that they're not above trying to grease the wheels at government to try to get the things they want
That actually
done.
reminds me.
But also, they're a smaller company.
Of a situation. That is true. If Comcast wanted to buy Warner Brothers, there might be some backlash with the government, the regulatories, right? And the thing here is when you have two smaller companies buying each other up, right? It's not that big of a deal. I remember AT&T trying to buy T-Mobile. They outright refused them. But then T-Mobile bought Sprint, and they allowed them. Why? Because they knew that Sprint was going to go bankrupt either way. And they knew that if T-Mobile didn't buy Sprint and create a third big competition against the big players, right? You're going to have only 2 people left, AT&T and Verizon, which is not what you want in the U.S. for competition. True. So when you think about it, right, would you want Paramount and Warner Brothers to go out of business or get bought out by another company? No, you would want them to merge so they can compete. And I don't think competition is bad. I think competition, healthy competition, right, is good for innovation among all the other companies. Or else the innovation will just stall and everything will be just lacking in quality. Imagine if Netflix was the only media company that it was able to survive. We're not going to get really good quality movies. Movie theaters will be dead. Everyone will just go on Netflix, and we're going to get low quality reality shows most of the time. You don't want that. You want other companies. I see people on X trying to say like, "Oh, Disney must be destroyed." But if Disney is destroyed, the movie theater business will be going to be in big trouble. Everything's going to be big. You don't want these media companies. There's people who work for them, people who their lives dependent on them. You want these companies to thrive so everyone else can thrive. I think this is a good thing if they actually do merge. No,
I agree with you. And the people that say that, oh, Disney needs to be destroyed, are usually the people that have this ideology, this anti-woke stuff, right? And that's the danger of that kind of stuff, is that it's like the ideology comes first, and then like we're gonna punish the Mouse House because they're woke, but there's no thought that goes into, but what happens if the Mouse House went under? Like you explained it right now beautifully, Seymour. Like it's not just about Disney. Like Disney going under would be terrible for the theater industry. It wouldn't help Hollywood. It wouldn't help the theater. That is not a good thing. You know what I'm saying? Them going under. But for some people, they're woke, so who cares? It's like, it's frustrating, man. And I'm glad we're kind of moving away from that. Like I do feel like those days, the grift train is kind of coming to a halt now. And I feel like this stuff is kind of more and more passe, kind of getting behind us, thankfully. But you're right. I've seen that so much in the past few years. Actually, like for almost a decade now, I've seen that kind of stuff. Really, ever since like Last Jedi-ish, right? And it's crazy. But yeah, there's huge ramifications for these companies going under, especially a Disney.
Like it's not as anti-consumer as, let's say, a huge monolith like Disney or NBC Universal were to take it over. It's less problematic that way. Now, some people may understandably ask, well, why would Paramount even want Warner Brothers? Why would they want to spend, like, Skydance only had to spend like $8 billion to get Paramount. They'll have to spend like $30 billion to get something like Warner Brothers. But why could they want it? Well, I mean, take a look at this. Right now, Netflix is the king of the hill when it comes to streaming, right? 301 million subscribers, give or take. These are numbers, or of the most recent numbers I've been able to find. They might be a little bit different, but basically you're getting the ballpark here. So Netflix at about 301 million. Amazon Video at 200 million. Disney Plus in third at 127.8 million. Now, once you get down to fourth, that's when you get HBO Max. And HBO Max right now sitting at somewhere between 122 and 125 million subscribers. Paramount down in fourth place is 78. Okay, then you got Hulu at 55 and Peacock at 41. The cock, as we call it.
Watch your mouth, Campia.
Look at that Paramount and HBO number, though. If Paramount were to take over Warner Brothers and merge in their streaming services, you suddenly easily leapfrog over Disney.
Right.
And now you're pretty much in second place, only about 100 million behind Netflix as
you know what's strange about these
streamer.
Numbers?
And it's not.
Is that majority of the HBO Max numbers are only in the US. So that's actually pretty incredible because Paramount Plus is more of a global streaming service and they only have 78 million, but HBO Max is not really global in a sense. In Canada, I can't even get HBO Max. I have to go to another company called Bell, and they have a service called Crave, and they get all the licensing from Warner Brothers for HBO content and whatnot from them. But yeah, majority of that is in the US. Same with like Hulu, right? It's majority in the US. Same with Peacock too. Majority is in the US. So a lot of these numbers we're seeing, right? They're just like, oh, they're huge, but majority is in the US. So you could, if you merge with Paramount Plus and go a little bit more global, that's a powerhouse.
Oh, absolutely. Like Campy is saying, you would be pretty close to Amazon, you know. Now, to be fair, Disney Plus and Hulu just announced they're merging those two. So Disney is really about 190 probably, ish, right? Around there. But even that, Paramount would still beat them, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and then they announced ESPN, the streaming service. So the numbers are going to dramatically change.
Yeah, these companies are making moves.
Not just the numbers. Because when you actually look at it,
also one more thing.
Sure.
Look at
one of the things that I thought that if Comcast bought Warner Brothers, is basically look at Peacock numbers that were so low. They were like, oh, okay, I need a streaming service that actually does well. Peacock, nobody, the majority of the time people use Peacock was for sports, right?
Right.
And those are gone. Right, the WWE gone, NFL, a lot of the stuff gone. Disney and Paramount took it away. I don't know. They're trying real hard with it, but if Warner Brothers and Paramount merge, I don't think Peacock could survive because there's no.
That's a good point. Yeah, no, Peacock's the weakest of all these streamers, you know, and it always has been, and it's. Universal is gonna have to make some moves on that one because it's just I don't know how that thing survives.
And I can see a future where we just get 3 or 4 streaming service. All you need is the new merger of Paramount and Warner Brothers, Netflix and Disney. That's all you really need. You can, and Amazon if you have Prime. That's about it.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Symmetry, basically. Paramount is really killing it with their programming. They're killing it with their programming, particularly a lot of the Taylor Sheridan stuff, but they have other IPs and stuff like that. They're doing great with that. HBO has great programming, but they also have this huge slate of Warner Brothers movies that are on there and that will be going there. All those 6 movies we just talked about, all going to be on HBO Max.
Sinners is already on there.
Sinners is already there. We're about to get, a number of other things too. So this suddenly becomes a very attractive package. And one of the things that they said in that Puck newsletter, Rob, that really does ring true. It is very odd that Warner Brothers is doing layoffs right now.
Right.
When they're on their best streak ever since Discovery took it over. They're clearly in their best stretch right now since taking over Warner Brothers. And the only real explanation, at least to me, that's feasible seems to maybe they are looking to sell and maybe Paramount is a buyer. I don't know, Rob, you're looking at this landscape. Do you think Paramount could be angling to get Warner Brothers? If so, why? Would it be a good idea, bad idea? How do you see it?
I don't think so. I mean, if anything, they could make an exclusive distribution deal with HBO Max if they wanted to. There was talk, I remember a couple of years back when Eddie Murphy was doing his movies, that they might have a deal, an exclusive deal, Paramount would, with Netflix. But I think that, Warner Brothers as one of the oldest, most venerable studios in the world, we need Warner Brothers as its own entity. We need Pam Abdi and Mike DeLuca. We need a different approach.
I agree with him. In an ideal world, I agree with Rob on that. I would love to see Warner Brothers stand on its own. But like we talked about earlier on in the show, Seymour, it's like realistically, though, can it? Realistically, if Paramount doesn't come in and swoop up and get it, or Universal doesn't come and swoop up and get it, it's likely an Amazon or one of those companies.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I would love for Warner Brothers just to thrive and be its own thing, like it's been, but it's just not. I don't know if it's realistic in this new day and age. What say you, sir?
No, it's gonna happen. Sooner or later, they're gonna get merged. If it's not Paramount and Warner Brothers, it's gonna be someone else. I'd rather have the lesser two evils to do it. But yeah, I don't want big tech coming in. I don't want even Netflix, for example, coming in to do it. Because, for example, Netflix doesn't release a lot of movies in the movie theaters, right?
Right.
And Paramount the new CEO is being very aggressive. They just signed a deal with the Duffer Brothers because the people who do Stranger Things, because Netflix don't want to release in the movie theaters. They're like, no, you're putting on a streaming platform. And they're like, okay, Paramount's offering a better deal. We're going with them because they're offering more money, but also, we're going to put it in the movies. They want a lot of, a lot of people want to be releasing stuff in the movie theaters, and Netflix doesn't do that, right?
Right.
Adam Sandler has signed a deal with Netflix, right? All of his movies, all of his future movies are on Netflix. They don't go to the movie theaters. And, they don't make, streaming doesn't make as much money as if you released it in movie theaters. And Bob Iger knew that when he came back and, released a lot of the streaming stuff that was supposed to be streaming into the movie and made billions, right? Moana 2 and Lilo and Stitch.
Yep. No, 100%, Seymour.
Yeah. So I'd rather have these companies in a business sense, right? I'd rather have Warner Brothers and Paramount. But I think it's going to happen. It's going to happen if they want to survive. If they don't want to go bankrupt or get bought out.
Right. 100%.
I think Paramount needs to be honest, slow their roll and build their studio. Make Paramount a player, put it back on top of the mountain, so to speak. And I think really concentrate on their core business. They're making interesting moves. The UFC thing was really interesting. The fact that they're going to concentrate.
That was
huge. Huge. And the fact that they're going to concentrate on their IP, really interesting. I mean, they're looking to expand their core business, but buying a whole nother studio and going through that rigmarole, and what are they going to do to own 2 lots and then combine it all? I think that's unnecessary and
well, I mean, I don't know. I mean, it wouldn't be unprecedented. I mean, we've had Disney buy, Pixar, for example, and they just kept the Pixar studio, and they have the Disney animation in Burbank, right? I do think that Disney, correct me if I'm wrong though, with the Fox thing. Yeah, we still have a Fox studio lot, right? Don't we? If I'm not mistaken, or did they get rid of that?
That one I don't know. All I know is that they have kept the some of the studios itself, and they merged it in with a few of the Disney
Right.
ones.
Yeah, I mean, there's going to be some consolidation here and there, but I don't see why
Yeah.
why they couldn't have the two studios. Paramount would just be the parent company.
Yeah.
You know, so it wouldn't. I mean, there's no rule. There's no hard and fast rule that they would have to like, you know, only have one studio. I mean, yeah, you would just have two studios, like Disney does with Pixar and Disney Animation. You know,
it would diminish. The landscape of movie making is already contracting. The last thing we need to do, you know, when 20th Century Fox was acquired and 20th Century Studios came out of the merger with Disney, at least they have somebody like the Quiet King of franchises, Steve Asbell, there to make sure that they're once again exploiting the Fox IP. We're getting Alien, we're getting Predator, we got Hellraiser, we're getting some new interesting movies out of 20th Century Studios.
I mean, we're even and to that point, we're even getting 20th century IP in the theme parks in a big way with Avatar coming to California now. You know, Pandora's coming to DCA, California Adventure. So, I mean, Disney is leaning into a lot of these 20th century IP. Go ahead, Seymour.
Yeah, even animation. Like in a video before, I was saying that I was watching King of the Hill, and I binge watched the whole thing. That's a Fox IP. You know, Family Guy, Simpsons. That's all Fox IP, and they did pretty good. I mean, those are IPs that I grew up with and still watch to this day. It's the only reason I actually sign up with the Disney Plus is because of those IPs. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. That's the reason why I watch it. That was the only thing that's keeping me whole with the streaming service.
Yeah, that King of the Hill is getting really good reviews. Really good reviews.
Yes. There's a lot of memes. And they did really. It was a very tasteful take on even on the smallest like politics. They didn't go overboard. They did it just right, and I think that it was perfect.
Awesome.
I want to see that happen at Paramount. I want to see it not combine with another studio into some behemoth that's going to be unruly, and then they're going to have to part out. They don't need two different studios. They don't need all of that infrastructure. Make a deal with HBO Max and announce it, but then they've still got Paramount Plus. And so I don't know, man. I would not like to see them merge with Warner Brothers at all.
I understand and I agree. I mean, because, you know, my basic philosophy here is that I want more competition. I want more competitors in the field, not less. But if I'm Paramount, and
real quick, and we'll get back to Campy in just a second, but real quick before he continues his point, we're not really losing competition though. See, that's the thing. Like, the old guard is changing for sure, right? With these mergers and what have you. But it's not like we haven't had new studios come in the last, 10, 15, 20 years, like Netflix and what have you, right? So even Hulu creates their own content, I believe, right? So it's yes, these studios, these old guard studios are merging, but there's also the emergence of this newer generation of studios like Netflix that are also on the landscape in that landscape now. So we still have quite a bit of competition, but am I off base with that, Seymour?
Oh no, I even said before, like I don't even think that Paramount is competing with like Disney or Warner Brothers anymore. It's competing with big tech and Netflix.
Yeah.
And Netflix is the one you have to worry about because if I'd rather, like he said, I don't want Paramount and Warner Brothers to merge. I'd rather have licensing. We can't live in a world that's perfect. It's not going to happen, unfortunately. We can't have our cake and eat it as well. And unfortunately, like I said prior, if they don't merge, something else will happen and you get swallowed up by a big company or you go out of business. And then what? We don't even have Paramount at all, or we don't have Warner Brothers at all. We don't want that. So I think this is a good thing. And if it does happen, I don't, I wish it couldn't happen. They all survive, but increased competition, but it's not going to happen, unfortunately. So consolidation is going to happen, unfortunately, among everyone. I don't know what's going to happen with Comcast, to be honest. I know their broadband services and the TV is going down a lot, and they're trying to expedite investing in the parks. But I don't know what they're going to do for their media side because streaming is not doing well.
No.
It's
Yeah,
not
they're
profitable.
streaming.
They're the only company that's not really profitable for streaming.
Yeah. Yeah, they got to do something with that Peacock. They really do, because it's been the straggler for it's never really caught on. That streaming service. It's always been like very much like the afterthought in the whole streaming war.
I have the money, and
oh, I'm sorry.
I
What
was
was that?
going to say a little bit off topic, but they could always just license. Sometimes it might be just the way to go. Just kill the streaming service and just license your content to everyone else, because like Sony does that and it does it really well. Sometimes they do bad moves, like that new K-pop movie that just came out.
Yeah.
They didn't think it was going to be a hit, so they took a lesser deal with Netflix. They should have made a better deal.
Oh yeah, that movie K-pop Demon Hunters is crushing it right now. I heard it was like the most watched animated film on Netflix. I mean, which is crazy because you're going up against. I mean, Netflix used to have Disney movies on there and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's crazy. This movie's This movie is. There's certain films that move the needle culturally. Like Frozen, for example, was one of those movies.
Yeah.
K-pop Demon Hunters is another one of those movies. It's massive, dude. It's massive.
Remember, Elson he's got daddy money. Daddy's got all the money. Daddy runs, or he's got access to tap into however much money he wants. Remember his sister had Annapurna Pictures?
Yeah.
I mean, Daddy's got all the money in the world. So, and look, I'm just saying from Paramount's point of view, having Warner Brothers added to the slate, when they've got DC up and rolling now, they've got originals firing on all cylinders. If they could grab that and then instantly, like that, have the number 2 streaming service in the world,
wow,
just like that. Again, whether I want to see it kind of isn't the question, because I'm with you. I would rather not. And if they want to sell Warner Brothers, sell it to somebody else. I mean, somebody that's not already one of the major studios. But I'm just saying, from Paramount's point of view and from Paramount's perspective, depending on the dollar amount, I could see why this would be very attractive, like really attractive. But to your point, Rob, hey, how about you make one movie first?
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
it's, I remember when the LA Clippers signed like James Harden and like signed a bunch of guys, and they were talking, we want to create a dynasty of title runs. And everybody in the sports world was like, hey, maybe you get on the court and play one game before you start talking about how many titles you're going to win.
Right.
And it's great. Listen, I love a lot of the stuff, Rob, that Paramount's been saying. Top Gun focus, Star Trek focus, theatrical focus, longer theatrical windows. I love hearing, but it's all just things to say, speak. Let's see what they're able to do.
Yeah. And also
that's going to be the key thing.
It's still all about your content, and making movies is incredibly difficult. Finding great material is even more difficult. People sometimes, when they talk about these mergers, they act like it's just, it's really easy to find great material and we can all go make it. Anyone who works in the business knows that it's incredibly difficult to find really great material that you want to invest $100 million in. And then once you've done that, you could have the greatest people in the world involved. But with every project, there's a little bit of alchemy. There's a little bit of spinning straw into gold. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. But it's a very difficult thing to create a heady concoction of elements that come out to be a Top Gun Maverick. Because if it was so easy, they'd run every movie that would come out would make $1.5 billion. And they don't. So running 2 studios means you have to find twice the material. And that is not an easy thing to do.
Somebody in the live chat is saying, I think what Paramount wants to do is buy the TV division that Warner Brothers is spinning off. Nobody wants the TV division. The TV is dying. Cable is the stuff everybody's trying to get out of. They might take it as a part of the package if they need to, but I don't think they're looking just to acquire that. Anyway, guys, question is for you. More reports are coming out that Paramount may be looking to buy Warner Brothers. I could see why they would want it, but is it a good idea? That's another question entirely.
So big shout out to John Campia, nice Canadian kid, as well as this guy down here, nice Canadian duck. You know, we got 2 Canadians on the show today, but Campia makes fantastic content. He's been a mainstay on my YouTube rotation for a really, really long time. Support this man if you aren't already. You know, make sure you subscribe. I know we have a lot of theme park fans here, so there might be a lot of people that watch us that don't actually, you know, that's not too familiar with Campia. Definitely give him a check out. He's awesome. But Seymour, any final thoughts before we get out of here today?
Yeah, nobody wants to buy the TV division. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. No, he's absolutely right on that one. It's not happening. You know.
I think from what I remember, I think Paramount was also said that they were gonna beef up Nickelodeon, and I think one of these the unfortunate things is that besides Disney, they've been lacklusting in the animation department for other companies.
Right.
All right.
Yeah.
You know, you kept hearing great things about Skydance with Netflix when they were doing a deal, and then they weren't that great. And then
Lasseter kind of hasn't really been the star player that a lot of people thought he was going to be for Skydance. I mean, look, he's gotten 2 movies right now, and neither one of them moved the needle culturally. Like we talked about K-pop Demon Hunters. That movie was that movie's insanely popular. None of the Lasseter stuff, Luck or the other one, I forgot the name of the other one, the one that just came out with Rachel Zegler. But neither one of those, no one cares about any of those movies. I mean, it completely forgotten in the cultural landscape, you know?
Yeah.
Completely forgotten.
Yeah. And the one thing they were talking about is that they want to like merge in Skydance Animation with Nickelodeon, right? And beef it up and use their IPs. And I think that was a great thing because we need better. Besides SpongeBob, we haven't really got much of it. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, I guess. But like I would like to see that get beefed up. And it would be interesting if they didn't buy Warner Brothers, if they would merge Cartoon Network in there. I remember as a kid, and this was very iconic and funny in a way. I remember Cartoon Network buying an ad space in the middle of the night in Nickelodeon, and they would just troll Nickelodeon saying, "Hey, why are we here?" A commercial ad space, just the Cartoon Network on Nickelodeon. And I was like, wait, is Cartoon Network going to be on Nickelodeon? No, it was just a troll. They just bought ad space to say, hey, you needed money for ads? We bought your ads. But yeah, but that could be a future now where Cartoon Network, and like I said, Warner Brothers is not really doing well with the animation. They're taking a the Looney Tunes, like Scooby Doo, their IPs, right? And everything in Cartoon Network, it's not really focused on it, and fans are getting upset. Like we want to see more. We want to see more animation, especially when even like stuff where they're canceling the one movie with the coyote, and they're like, fans are like, we want to see that. Finally, that's getting released because they found a buyer. But it's like, why does that need to happen? People worked hard on that movie, and fans want to see that movie, and we want to see the Looney Tunes back in action. Yeah.
Oh, well said. They got to do something to get those Looney Tunes back, because those are great characters. I've said for years, like Looney Tunes are really they could really do Disney moves if you did the right content for those characters. I remember growing up as a kid in the 90s where Animaniacs and Tiny Toons, I mean, these were the cartoons that were in direct competition with the Disney afternoon. Warner Brothers proved that in the 90s they could have those characters be very relevant in that landscape, and I believe they can do it again. Those characters are very, very funny, and they're pretty edgy. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of kids nowadays will really dig those characters if done right. Don't water them down. Don't, what I'm saying? Make them like how they were. I mean, you had Steven Spielberg doing Animaniacs and Tiny Toons. I mean, this guy, absolute genius, and you can tell that the show's the quality, you could tell that he was involved. So, but we need that kind of love going into these characters again, because I think you can bring them back. I really, really do. But Seymour, it's always a good time talking to you, brother. Where can everybody find you on social media, sir?
Yeah, you can find me on X at Mr. Seymour Duck.
There he is, Mr. Seymour Duck on X. Make sure you go follow him. And I want to thank everybody for watching. Comment down below with all your thoughts on the possibility of Paramount buying Warner Brothers. Do you like it, love it, hate it? What are your thoughts? Do you like the idea of Comcast Universal buying Warner Brothers? What are your thoughts on that? We would love to hear from you. Until the next time, see you later.
Thank you so much for watching OG55. Don't forget to smash that like button, subscribe, and become a member today.